Guys, what's going on? I have crisis, so electricity in my hood transformer ibomile, guys. We've been calling Escom for days now and they're not even returning. They're not, I don't know what they need right now. Or what you get. And but I will just try and react on YouTube. So I heard some other person told me that I should react on Nara Smith's videos, you get. And cause they told me she's doing waras from the start. I don't get it how, but then yeah. And guys, starting from today, I'm gonna try and speak more English on Sar. And guys, but then we're gonna get there. If we left together, guys. You know what I mean, and what I mean is what you know.
Hello guys, welcome to this channel, Space J's channel, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, to follow, to share to everyone in the world.
Keep it real, no fake.
Aware that finding joy in cooking for my husband and kids would automatically mean that I just slave away in the kitchen. I don't have a job and I have a whole production team at my house making that happen. To clarify, none of that is true. I'm a working mom, juggling all kinds of hats and responsibilities. But cooking has always been. I couldn't sleep last night and realized that I had a head of Napa cabbage in the fridge and hadn't made kimchi in a while. So I decided to go downstairs and do exactly that. I cut my cabbage into quarters and took the core out before slicing it into smaller pieces. I repeated that with each quarter and put.
Why would she do that? Why answer that Daniela Gomara? People cook it or what? I happy you do.
Them in a large bowl, sprinkled them with salt, massaged my cabbage, and then topped it with water. I put a plate on top to make it a little heavier, and then let that sit for about 2 hours.
You guys are just kidding, man. Because I'm jalo too much. This person is just making cabbage as normal people.
After about 2 hours,
I thought she was going to make cabbage from the start, like create cabbage from ingredients.
Poured all that water out and rinsed it a couple times before letting it sit in my strainer while I prepped my marinade. I grated some garlic, ginger, put that back in the bowl with some fish sauce, sprinkle of sugar, and some red chili flakes before giving that a good mix. While that was sitting and getting to know each other, I peeled my daikon radish and sliced it into matchsticks before moving on to cutting up some spring onions. Once all my prep was done, I put all of my vegetables into my large bowl.
You guys are just kidding, man. She's just making Sunday course. Man. Marla Sunday course. Nah, guys, there's no Sunday without Sunday course, man. To Sunday course, Joe. Yo. Right now, people eat Sunday course during the week. Bruh, Sunday course is meant to be eaten in Sundays. On Sundays, man, only. Just Sunday course, it doesn't make sense when you eat Sunday course more big. It's on a low jack. Like, guys, keke is meant to be eaten when something is celebrated. You cannot just eat keke because you want keke. Wow. It's not enjoyable.
Started mixing that really well, making sure to get everything coated evenly. I then started filling it into
the first time I see someone.
My jar. I had to try a little bit just to make sure it was perfect. Then I screwed the lid on and let it stand for 4 days at room temperature to ferment. I couldn't. When I asked my toddlers what they wanted for lunch today, they both said pizza, which took me by surprise since they don't usually like it. But nevertheless, I got started on making them some. I combined some flour, water, yeast, and some salt before mixing that together and letting that rise for about 2 hours. While that was rising, I got started on making some mozzarella cheese. I warmed up some milk, combined that with citric acid, and rennet before slicing it and returning it back to the stove. And once it hit the temperature I needed it to, I strained it, stretched it, and formed it into my mozzarella balls. Placed those into cold water while I made the rest of my ingredients for my pizza. They requested plain cheese pizza, so I got started on making the tomato sauce. Kept it really simple with that. I also made some hot honey since they like a drizzle of that.
You guys are just hating. Now I see it. She's just making pizza, bro. What's the biggest thing on making pizza? Can you guys? Can why now eat a pizza? So you guys are hearing. Can go tagalan ngana bantu kan? Why ni so? Why are you like this? When you wrong, young.
Husband mentioned that he was craving Coca-Cola the other day, and since
Bruh, if your husband needs Coca-Cola, go to the shop and buy Coke. Can again?
we were out of soda, I decided to make him some today. I started by making my caramel sugar by combining some water and sugar, letting that come to the hard crack stage before pouring it out and letting it cool. Once it was all cooled down, I broke it up and set it aside and moved on to zesting my citrus. I started by zesting some oranges, some lemon, and lastly, I also zested some lime. I moved on
What? Why a pila orange
to grinding up all of my spices. I started by combining some nutmeg, cinnamon, some vanilla, coriander seeds, rose hips, some lime leaves, and some cola nut. Before grinding that into a fine powder, I combined the last round of ingredients, which were some water with different sugars, the citrus that we zested earlier, and we can't forget about our citric and malic acid, and also the caramel sugar we made earlier. I set that into a water bath and let that all come together for about an hour and a half on the stove before straining it through a fine mesh strainer. I popped that in the fridge until it was cold, and then it was time to have our soda. I combined some cola syrup with sparkling water, and this tasted exactly like Coke. And when I made
Bruh, she made Coke from the... How is that even... How? Girl, the easiest thing, makuleng, buy Coke. Bruh, you telling me the ingredients that you used are not more than the Coke that you... What?
lucky a glass, he was so impressed that he had to have another glass after.
It clearly shows you if you have this kind of a parent, you out to everything at home. What? No.
Today is one of those nights.
I've had Thai food 4 times last week, and here I am yet again craving it, so we're making it again. There's nothing better to me than pad see ew, mango sticky rice, and some... This has been my favorite late night snack lately. My husband has a weird obsession with Takis and can't go longer than a week without having them. When he just got home from vacation and while I couldn't decide whether I wanted something sweet or savory for breakfast, and neither could my kids, so I decided to make a few different things. I started off by making some homemade pistachio cranberry granola. I mixed all of my ingredients together, popped it in the oven, and while it was cooling, I sprinkled over some cranberries. There's something so special about a fresh...
She has every ingredient for everything that she needs, dog. Like I want her kitchen
orange juice, so I obviously had to do that as well. And then for my
she just made orange juice for herself.
Savory options, I decided to do a hash with some bacon. I peeled and grated my potatoes before squeezing out all the liquid, and it was way past my bedtime, and even though takeout did sound enticing, I knew it wouldn't hit the same as a home-cooked comfort meal. So today we made some bangers and mash, but without the mash, and instead we did roast potatoes. I still had a few potatoes left that our friends brought from Idaho, so I cut those up, boiled them, and shook them before transferring them over onto a baking sheet with hot duck fat. Seasoned my potatoes before popping them in the oven for 45 minutes. In the meantime, I got started on my red wine gravy by slicing up some red onions and sauteing them in a pot with some butter. Once they softened and got some color, I sprinkled in some flour before pouring in some of my red wine, beef stock, and then letting that simmer on the stove until it thickened up, which was about 30 minutes. In the meantime, I got started on prepping my lemon garlic broccolini. Took some of the stems off and thinly sliced my garlic before sauteing all of that in some olive oil, salt, pepper, and a squeeze of lemon. I also had some of these really good German sausages in the fridge, so I let those brown, and then it was time to plate. Put my duck fat roasted potato.
My eczema has been...
Here's everything my husband eats in a day / what I cook for him. Cooking is my love language, so this is not something that's expected of me. This is just something that I love doing. Rumble and Slim aren't big snackers, but when they do request something, I usually make it. So today they requested some chips and guacamole and some popsicles. I got started. My husband hasn't been home in a few days, but he's gonna be home in about 4 hours. So I decided to surprise him with a variation of one of his favorite desserts, which are cinnamon rolls. I had a bunch of raspberries at home, so I decided to make some raspberry lemon rolls. I started with my dough by combining some milk, sugar, butter, eggs, and then gradually adding in my flour. I made sure to mix it very. My baby just got home from the hospital, and one thing that she has been asking me to make is chicken noodle soup. So
Why does she speak like that?
we're gonna be using this tiny little. This morning, my husband told me to be ready by 4 p.m. since he was taking me on a date. We've been spending a lot of time outside by the pool, and we're back in LA for the next 2. My parents are on a 10-hour flight over from Germany, and they're about to land, so I decided. Seen this couple quiz all over. I spent the last 4 days in New York, and now it's time to travel to Orange County to see. My husband's about to go on a 25-hour road trip, so I decided to make him some bubblegum lollipops as a little treat on his drive. Started out by making my bubblegum by spreading some powdered sugar
How can you make bubble gum?
on some wax paper, melting down my gum base, transferring that into the middle of my mounds I created. I added some apple flavor to one of them and added some vanilla extract to the other to make 2 different kinds of flavors before kneading in my powdered sugar. Once a good portion of them was absorbed, I cut them up and formed them into little gumballs before putting them aside while I got started on making my lollipops. Obviously had to try one and make sure that it was the right consistency.
No, she made chip. Muto irile chapisi, guys.
Which it was. I then moved on to making my lollipops by combining some sugar and syrup in a pot before placing that on my stove to boil. In the meantime, I put my gumballs on top of my
She's making lollipops. What?
lollipop sticks before checking on my sugar mixture on the stove. I wanted to keep a close eye on it to make sure it reached the right temperature before adding in some more apple syrup and green food coloring since I was making apple flavored lollipops. Once it reached the hard crack stage, I transferred it over to my silicone molds before placing my lollipop sticks inside. To speed up the cooling process, I placed them in the fridge and then had Lucky get them out of the molds because I couldn't for some reason. He got them out and couldn't contain his excitement, so he tried one of them and absolutely loved them. I wrapped up the other ones so he could take them on his road trip. My husband.
Bruh. Mwana onyaka maswiti enwara war. Where you buy. You made a stock sweet from the start. Utikiretse like a stove. You didn't need bumichain. I thought Miss look. Nah, I can't react to it. What's the my God. Mara kanike Mara. Marlena Joy is Kalangana. I feel like you guys are going to buy us. So it's Hanyana Nyan. You cannot pierce yourself. You cannot pierce here or pierce a lame. It can shows your bra. When you can kill people if you can hurt yourself. Nah, it clearly shows Joe. You guys some other day you're going to eat us. Nina. It's true. I can feel it in my blood. Hi. Like how do you bobas here? Here. Oh, bobas here. How do you do that? Here. Woman, girl.
Vinicius, Pinati, Vinicius, go!
It's a little party. A small gathering.
Vinicius!
What is it? Haven't you done it? No.
Our Mara, it's a very Google say. Now, but you can see what this person had a good era. One more, you say I did I said like that. Oh, it's into I Iran dog. Oh, palale na ke palale ke motho ke na le tswala bam. Even now I cannot dance that dance. Yampala is the easiest dance ever. Now wonder we are lang.
I'm him. No. You're a struggling SoundCloud rapper who's fighting a vape addiction and bisexuality.
Yo.
I could name 50 other guys who are exactly like you.
Yo.
Mwah. No.
Let me relay, guys. Let me relay.
I'd why?
Chup lamntwana nyamnyanya. Like bese right asechele. Uchup naye ngithi vele simxolele. Kushona abantu abayi4. Samxolele. 4. Kunabantu abasesepeni namhlanje. Kunabantu abangekho right, abangekho like they are not well off because of that accent ka chup. Yasenzani lento le? Ithatha ama camera isithola seasons into zethu yashoot.
Man, you just went to jail for doing something bad, Joe. And I have to also turn the camera you expose the relationships about. Like, dog, what? But you're about to hurt, you're making them more angry, bro. I told her why.
Sikolele utaka ama drugs uwange imoto no sikolele lombona lona awange imoto adrive imoto encane ama drugs bataka ama drugs emini bachesa abantwana besikole babe esikolweni samxolela sathi asiyakuzwela baba samzwela
Mayiphuma.
no umuntu aphuma phezu camera let's do it. Umuntu aphuma phezu camera nama microphone here we are John yeah lalela wena son
Isibutubutu.
There's nothing wrong with what he's doing. Anti an exposure.
Chula sinempilo zethu. Besijolala kamnandi.
Kamnandi.
Sijolala kamnandi siphuzela kamnandi abantu bethu. Hoy nangu umuntu camera.
I will give you that.
Sister Bettina, all right.
Nah.
In the meantime,
Nah, Joe, like, comic series, so funny say it or ira bang. It really shows you quiet into Iram. How is that even possible?
what's happening tonight? In the place to be.
Shall I pay? Or shall I pay?
You better see. Lubu shabe too. You better see. Lubu shabe too. You better see. Lubu shabe too. You better see. Lubu shabe.
Nah, guys. I'm not the only one.
Who's better? In the meantime, you better see.
That's anyone tender late. That's it. They say we'll never make it.
I can understand. They're like, how do you like? How did you end up in a relationship with a Likula dog? Like, what was going on to that? If it's to that point, there you guys tell each other, I love you too. Ebe ukona lolo ufika 3 years. Nah, dog. Nah, you like.
I hear this beat in my head. Watch.
Guys, I feel like you should take parents' cell phones and delete TikToks on Nara.
me move my hips to it.
Mama. Oh my gosh.
Right to left, I'ma have you out of breath.
Mama, what's this, baby? Lola? Nah, guys, I think I'm going to start and do this. Why isn't it? Guys, let me tell you, I'm giving you a request. Kopela, if you feel like you want me to react on someone's timeline or page or whatever, mention me there, then I'll make sure that I operate. I say what I want to say. I love you guys, and thank you for following me, and thank you for your subscription. Like, thank you for everything. I love you guys. I love you.